on YouTube. It's important.
You guys stopping us later too?
Finance.
What's later? Yeah, finance.
Finance, 5:30.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miguel. I'm the chair. Welcome to the Pathway to End Gun Violence Advisory Council. We got quite a longer agenda. Thank you all very much, committee members, for making the time to be here today. Welcome to our guests here that are joining us today. Obviously, our clerk's office as well, our city solicitor's office, council staff. I think we're ready for a roll call.
Chairperson Sanchez,
Here.
Co-chair Corey Jones,
Here.
Co-chair Diana Garlington,
Here.
Keturo Manokaran.
Here.
Alan Williams is absent. Detective David Perez.
Here.
Michael Stephan is absent. James Monteiro is absent. Lisa Pina Warren. Here. Juan Carter is absent. Michael Hogan is absent. BJ Fox.
Here.
We have 7 present, 5 absent. We have a quorum.
Awesome, thank you. So the first item on the agenda is welcome introductions. I think we can kind of skip over that part unless anyone else has any objections. The only update that I would have is that, who's stepping down? Someone's stepping down. Jovan Leeson. Jovan Leeson is moving on from justice assistance. So she recommended, as long as along with my co-chairs, to have Robert Bailey from the organization take her plate. So he will be an official member of the committee for the next meeting, hopefully. So we'll make that formally at the council meeting tomorrow. It's the only committee personnel update, as you could say. Does anyone else have anything they want to add on there? All right, so we'll move on to item 2. Review of previous meeting notes. Do these just need to be approved or?
Technically, and I have talked to, Director of Policy, Aaron, Mr. Gardner, and I know he had a conversation with Miguel. This is something that we generally don't put on an agenda, so this is the last time. We're bound by state law to put up minutes within 35 days, and because this committee meets longer than that, these minutes have already been officially posted because we were beyond the 35 days. So typically, a lot of our other committees don't need to approve their minutes. There's very few that do. So it's not a necessary thing that you have to do and probably should not be on future agendas.
Yep, duly noted. All right, so we'll move on to item number 3, update on current initiatives and progress. So I mean, obviously as a commission, and we're still in the very early stages on, so I mean, we're not very directly involved. I know we've had a number of folks here that recently attended a conference out in California regarding CVI. The Giffords Conference is one of the lead. Would you guys say it's the leading organization around community violence intervention?
Yes,
That's
federally, yes.
Pretty fair. So luckily we have a committee member, Juan Carter, who's not here today, who actually is employed by said organization. So we definitely have a very efficient lineup of communication and options when it comes to information and resources. Lisa, do you want to touch a little bit on what the Non-Violence Institute has been up to this summer?
Sure. So we have a couple of initiatives going on. We have the summer jobs program in Pawtucket that is starting this coming Monday. We also have some things going on in Providence, continuing to do some work with the youth that we have previously, that have previously gone through the SEED program. The SEED program is a 2-week nonviolence, life skills, program that we have. They do receive a stipend. Well, this summer, we are choosing 10, youth from the previous cohorts, and we will have a small, very intimate group that will work very closely, with these 10. And again, they're hand selected, so they're youth that we have seen that may need some extra support, may possibly be involved or on the wrong path. And what we plan to do is continue to help them build themselves up, whether it's health, mental health, first aid. We're also going to do CPR, some job skills training, but there's also going to be some recreation. We plan on taking them on a couple of trips. One, at the end of the summer, we plan on taking the ferry to Newport, have some lunch and things like that. So we just actually planned it this past week, and we plan on moving forward and selecting the 10 next week. Also, as you know, we continue to do the outreach and victim services. Had a pretty busy week since 4th of July, I will say. Actually very, very busy. So we continue to do that as well, kind of just trying to get a pulse on what's going on and trying to intervene on anything that we can, but also continuing to support victims and families that are impacted by the current violence that is happening in our community.
You guys also have, like monthly community meetings, right?
Yeah, so we have the community conversation. And there is one coming up, sorry that I can't remember exactly. I believe it's next week. That will be next Tuesday will be our community conversation, and it's from 4 to 6. And it is at the Nonviolence Institute, which is 265 Oxford Street.
So that kind of reminds me, just a quick reminder, if anyone has like any events or anything they want to get out to the committee, you guys could always email it to one of our lovely clerks, and they can make sure that it gets out to the rest of us, for sure. So thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else PJ, do you want to give a?
Yeah, I
quick
can give
update
a
on-
quick update too. So the Attorney General's office submitted the CVI grant to DOJ, totaling $4 million. And it's a statewide initiative, but obviously some partners that are involved. We're looking at, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think if we get it, we'll be able to RFP about 1.3 million out to community agencies. So obviously, if we were to get that, we'll be making sure that the committee is aware of that to help disseminate that out to the agencies and stuff. So that's exciting. Probably won't hear anything till late September, or early October, but it's a good chunk of change if we can get it.
So sure, it's crossed.
Yeah.
Has anyone in the state ever applied for a grant?
Yeah,
Similar to
there's been several, but this is a state level grant.
Right.
So it's really coordinating between DLT signed on, it's really coordinating the state strategy, but we made sure that we wrote in, can't remember off the top of my head, but a certain percentage of the funding has to go out to community agencies. So it's a significant chunk. So there are partners that were written in, and then there'll be an additional one. I think it's around 1.3 that we ended up being able to segment for RFP purposes out to community agencies. So and it's a 3-year grant, so that's good change.
Yeah, and right now, like the CVI-PI program has more money than ever before because of the bipartisan Public Safety Act, that was called.
Yeah.
But they put like 200 million into the CVI program across the country.
So yeah, we should hear hopefully late September, ideally, because the grant's scheduled to start October 1st. So
And just for like, I guess, my educational purposes, we obviously know certain funding opportunities sometimes disappear or move away with certain administrations. Is that a concern if there's a change in administration that some of the CBI money might not be available?
Yeah, so federally, if a new administration comes in, one that's not as friendly to this kind of work, definitely. I don't know the ruling, I don't know the nuances. I mean, I don't think once contract's signed, I mean, they can lower it. I don't know if they can outright cancel. But any new funding is definitely up for debate,
Right.
I would think, in jeopardy.
Right.
So I think once, if we were to get this and it's signed, I don't think there's much they can do, but after that, anything new is gonna be,
The chopping block.
yeah, for sure. And VOCA, I think, I don't know if at the last meeting you brought it up, but VOCA, which is the Victims of Crime Act funding, has been cut, what was it, 40%? 35, 40%, and there was a good rally at the State House, a couple months ago, to try to shore up that program on a state level, but, in the CBI grant that we wrote, we did write in, helping to try to replenish some of the, VOCA funding, making sure that we had victim advocates that were still funded, so. It's a big grant if we get it, and it will be it'll help us maybe, weather some of the storm that potentially could develop
Right.
in Washington,
Something to be aware of and
Yeah.
think about in the future.
for sure.
Does anyone else have anything they want to add? Sure.
I'll just add something quick about, this is what I took away from the CVI conference. I mean, first I want to say, shout out to Lisa and PJ, because they were like celebrities there, and
More Lisa.
it was nice to, be by their side and be able to talk to some of the big wigs. But, actually our own Tenny, who, led and co-founded, the Nonviolence Institute, he led a section about the efforts they're doing in Chicago. And, I just think the way that they broke down like a neighborhood by neighborhood strategy, and, like they had CVOs allocated to each neighborhood in, the city, and had a different level of what resources will go there, and, focus. And so, and then they also had a plan, where the state and the city put to 200 million on the table. And then they were fundraising 250 million from businesses. And I think they were at about 80 million of that 250 million, and on pace to hit what they want to hit. So I think, what I took from that is that, this is a all hands on board strategy, and we have to figure out, what is the number that we need, and then what's the number that city and states can deliver, and then what's the number that our business community can deliver, whether that's job training, whether that's slots and opportunities and jobs, right, or actual money. And then, kind of a neighborhood by neighborhood strategy, and, coordination on, who would do what, and how will that connect. Yeah, so that was a large takeaway I took from it. It was a lot. We went all the way into like schools, and we could talk forever about the different workshops, but I think for our group and kind of where we're at, that could be really helpful, and hopefully I can get some of those slides and share with the group.
Awesome, man. That'd be great. Anyone have anything else they want to add on under this one? Just a quick note, we were really trying to get folks from Parks and Recs to kind of go over like some summer programming. Timing's a little difficult in the summer. But yeah, that just going ahead, I think it's super important that we get folks from the city and local orgs that have a lot of recreational and arts and cultural programming going on in the community to get in here. So at the very least that we're aware of what's out there, and obviously to promote to our communities as much as possible. So I'm not sure if it makes sense to bring them into the next meeting. But I might talk to my co-chairs and see, just so we're aware as well, even if the timing isn't super on track. So yeah, I mean, I think it's super important right now, it's in the summer. There's a lot of activity has definitely picked up. Our police department is probably gonna touch into that a little bit here next. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone else, anything on.
I just wanna say that I agree so much with you, as a parent, so just the last couple of days. I have an 8-year-old and I was just trying to figure out, like, what can I have her do? Cause she's really bored right now. And I had just come across this link that I had, and I was a little taken aback that I wasn't aware of it, the Enroll RI. And there was just lists of art programs, dance programs, all free. And I wasn't aware of them, and now there's like wait lists, but you know what I mean? There was just so much that I wish I had known, not just for my personal, but to share with the community and say, you can get your kid involved in this, so you are absolutely right, bringing those, community orgs in would be really, really important.
No, absolutely, and I'll give credit to our rec director, Grace, because I'm also on the recreational advisory board, and it's been one of our bigger tasks is making programs more accessible and available, and making sure that folks that do want to sign up their kids for the different programs and camps that the city offers, for them to have it in an accessible way. And even the demand right now is extremely high.
It is,
I
yes.
believe we have around like 900 youth jobs in the city, and they received, I think, close to 2,000 applications. So I mean, there's obviously a need in our community. So anything that we can do as a advisory council, obviously our work is more focused around violence intervention, but we know that recreational programming, kids having things to do, building community is one of the bigger violent deterrents that we can offer our folks in our neighborhoods. So yeah, I think.
Related to that, we do have you play learn and we have a website as well.
Yes.
Very much similar to Enroll RI. A lot of the rec camps are probably full, but I think it's also worth noting that like spots may open up if families that signed up but they don't there just weren't able to attend. So I guess I can send that to Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let me know if you need any help reaching out to Parks and Rec, because I work with them pretty regularly. And I think also relatedly, as part of the return to local control work, the city has a website for that as well, or a web page off of our main site. And I think one of the biggest resources on that page is literally just a compilation of resources that we believe will help us work towards goals outlined in the turnaround action plan. But that also lists like various city-sponsored programs that can also address concerns raised here. Also, I'll send that to Tina as well. And that is a living website. So there are other programs on there that we've not listed. Like, feel free to send them to me, and we will add it to the website.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it was mentioned in the past about some sort of like working document, or eventually maybe like a pamphlet with a lot of this stuff. Obviously, it's a little challenging because a lot of the camps and programs are either like temporary or like one-off. So we don't want to put false information out there as well. But I think it's something that our co-chairs and our policy team can kind of brainstorm a little bit and see what we can do around this topic going forward.
Yeah, we have a youth resource guide from DLT. If anybody has any agencies or organizations that you'd like me to distribute that to, we've distributed 1,800 so far, and we have another 3,000 and 2,500 in Spanish copies to distribute. But definitely recreating something like that specifically for Providence could be helpful. We had that exact question. We made it only state programs because we were wary of what, would run out of funding or wouldn't exist in a year or so. But we are open to adjusting that and hearing feedback.
I guess I'll start one more thing related to that, and it is sort of the temporary funding tool, but we will have a second round of mentoring grants that should start the RFP process either in the summer or early fall as well. So, and I know none of us participated last time. So,
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything they want to add on before we move on to the next item? Nope. All right, we'll move on to item number 4. Item number 4 is presentation from our Providence Police Department. Do you have like a slideshow? So, go ahead.
Stand up.
Awesome. You want to stand over here or you put?
I'll be fine here.
You're good right there?
Yeah. So as many of you know, I'm Detective David Perez. I'm a youth service detective with the Providence Police Department. Director Mike Stevens couldn't be here today. We basically, without going too far into the weeds.
I'm very limited. What do you mean by blow it up?
Don't actually.
Hey.
Not actually.
Thank you. I did not know that. Wait a minute.
Leave the space bar. There you go. So I kept it to guns for now. Like I said, one, our stats is a little bit, we can't give out too much information. But, so 2021, we had 210 firearms seized where someone was charged. 2022, 273, and then 2023, 233. So we say where someone was charged just because there's article founds, firearms that would come across from, you know, a scene and a gun was left behind. And then there's other instances where nobody's charged. So this is year to date, and this was made a month ago. I was supposed to present in June. So 115 firearms were seized in total at the time that was made. 22 of the firearms were safekeeping issues. I don't know if anybody has a question in regards to that. That's basically your uncle left his gun out and there was a party at the house and somebody somehow got a hold of it. It wasn't locked up properly, something like that. 4 article founds, which is what I was describing earlier. We have a disturbance, something like that. By the time we get there, everyone runs, there's a gun on the floor. That's an article found. 11 firearms seized were privately made. Ghost guns. Now, these are becoming a serious problem now. Ghost guns, they can't be tracked. And it's easier and easier to make them now. So this is becoming a real issue for a real concern for us in the city. 8 of those firearms were reported stolen. 9 of those firearms, not including ghost guns, 9 of them had obliterated serial numbers, which is fairly common for guns that we encounter, especially when they're gang guns, when they're guns that are kept within a gang and passed around. 3 firearms were assault rifles, which I don't know if that's surprising to many of you. I know a lot of times we hear about assault rifles, and out of 120, 115, 3 were assault rifles. So we have a much more serious problem with handguns. 1 firearm was converted, had a switch which converts it into a machine gun. Basically means you hold the trigger down, it's going to keep firing. 40 large capacity feeding devices. Those are magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. And then again, 13 cases were confirmed gang association. And that number, again, not to play on words, but that's confirmed gang association. Right. That's not, we understand that number is probably higher than that, but you know, the process of confirming. All right, so we have several units whose purpose in some way or another is to limit gun violence along with other crime that we deal with within the city. We have the Violent Crime Task Force. This is what many call the jump outs. So their job is to implement proactive, intelligence-led police patrol, and they have a focus on violent offenders. So their focus is right in the name, obviously, but it's not drugs. It's literally offenders that we know. We gather information on the violence that they're taking part in throughout the city. Organized crime, intelligence, and narcotics. Those are 3 different units. They kind of, not that they have a shared goal, but it's close enough to where they investigate and enforce narcotics violations, which narcotics and firearms go hand in hand. So firearms as well, to include straw purchases, which is people purchasing firearms for someone else. They're obviously filling out the application saying it's for them, but I'm really purchasing it for, this young kid who I know shouldn't have one or can't get one legally. Organized crime, and then vice laws, and ordinances. School resource officers, maybe a surprise to have them up there, but they're in my eyes, and I know that many in the department view it the same way. They're one of our bigger resources when it comes to combating violence, because many of the incidents stem from schools or involve kids who are in our schools, and a lot of them feel comfortable enough, either they do or their parents, to talk to our school resource officers. Unfortunately, we're down to, I think, 5 school resource officers. At one point, we had north of 10. So Central has one right now, PCTA has one right now, Mount Pleasant has one, Alvarez has one, and I believe and Hope, thank you, and Hope, and that's it. Those are the 5. So that's kind of been obviously taking a hit just because we don't have the resources to allocate towards that. Also, that's funded by us. I know there's like a misconception that the schools pay for that in Providence. We cover those, I guess you would say we donate those officers who are part of that. They're not paid for by the school. But like I said, they developed really good relationships. A lot of our good information comes from them, and we rely on them heavily when it comes to combating the gun violence. And then we have the community engagement aspect of it, which falls in line with the school resource officers. This is something that we do in hopes of bridging a divide, in hopes of creating a relationship where people can come to us and talk to us about all the things going on in the city. And these are just a few examples. We have the Providence Police Explorers. We have camps that we put together. I personally put together a wrestling camp. It's awesome. It's the best thing we've ever done in the world. So this year is going to be August 19th to the 24th. And we're doing it at the Jocelyn Rec Center. The last 2 years, we did it at Hope High School. It's literally a wrestling, not wrestling like coming off the top rope. Collegiate style wrestling camp that we put together for youth. It's free to them. We've had in the past, we've had upwards of 100 kids at our camp. We feed them the whole week. We teach them how to wrestle, and hopefully we connect them with, we have colleges come in, so we hope to kind of connect them with some of the local schools. Rhode Island College comes through every year, JWU comes through every year, and a few other local colleges come through and they get a chance to talk to, and we bring in kids all the way from 6 years old to high schoolers going into college. So just kind of hoping to show them different avenues and things that they can put their energy towards, that hopefully keep them out of trouble. And it's the same thing with the basketball camp. CrossFit in the Park, we haven't done in a while, but it's exactly what it says, the CrossFit in the Park. And then the rest of these are events that we hold where the public just comes in, trunk or treat. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but really awesome event we hold where the kids get to come in, and as opposed to trick or treating all over the place, they come to us. We provide them with some candy, and then we send them home or wired up.
Before you move on to the next slide, I do want to highlight, because I know the Providence Police Department is involved as well. So the rec department, alongside other partners, is running nighttime basketball
Oh, I have that.
this
Yes.
year. I don't know if you have more information on it, but the team application stuff is due somewhat soon, if not already passed. So registration, yeah, so it looks like it started already, so
Yes.
from July 9th to August 15th. But yeah, I mean, definitely gonna try to go out to a couple of games, obviously.
It's
Uh,
worth,
yeah,
it's definitely worth doing. So I don't have too much information. Basketball's not been my thing.
I'm a wrestler too, so
Wrestling and basketball are in the same season, and God decided that I was wrestling. So I'm not too heavily involved with the basketball side of it. I do know that actually Director Mike Stevens is heavily involved with that. So next meeting, when we get him here, we can have elaborate on whatever you want with that. Fortunately, I don't have too much information with the basketball. I know they've had a lot of good success with that.
Yeah, no, it's something that definitely has been very popular in the city for years and years. Last year we weren't able to do it with some funding issues, but this year I know city councilors and the mayor's office as well made it a priority. So there's gonna be 3 locations, West End, Rogers, and Igliosi. Something new this year is that there's actually a whole women's division as well. So that one is gonna be at Igliosi Center. So games are on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 9 at those places until August 15th. So I'm gonna definitely try to probably go out next week, then since we don't have a council meeting next Tuesday, hopefully. And the next Thursday we do, but like next Tuesday, I think I got free. Obviously, like, I don't think we can play, but obviously just supporting that, that's something that, sorry, just. I'll get right back.
Go ahead.
Something that I think we need to do, a lot better of a job as a city is, getting involved in our local schools and our local youth programs, even though we might not have a family member or a neighbor directly involved. Something that was super important for me growing up is playing recreational sports in high school and seeing, obviously my family there, but just seeing community folks that don't have, a direct tie, but care. It's part of the community, part of the bigger picture as, a thriving society. So I think that's something that we should always, commit to improving and supporting and expanding, that support as much as possible. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So these are just a few stats on some of
There's
our
a quick
community
question, sorry.
engagement. Go.
I just want to add an event that you don't have on there. The annual first night. This year, you guys are having it in Rogers Park,
Yes, you talk about National Night Out.
National Night Out,
Yes,
yes,
yes, this year, so the slide was made before.
yes.
We had solidified that, so I'm happy you brought that up. We are having National Night Out. It's the first year so we've had in the past several National Night Outs events. And they've been held, you know, whether who's a part of this one, who's a part of that one, and everybody just kind of does their own thing. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Tina Shepherd. But that's where I actually met Tina Shepherd. We put together a National Night Out in Oneyville. This was years ago now. And now we're actually gonna have one, as opposed to having, you know, one done here by this group of people and one done here. The Providence Police Department is hosting our own in Roger Williams Park.
Rogers Park, Temple
At the
Music,
temple,
yes,
So yes, and that's
August 6th.
thank you.
You're welcome.
That's actually the national official day of National Night Out. So August 6th, which that's gonna be an awesome event. I
Yes,
wish
sir.
that I had that on here before.
I got you, don't worry.
And that's an event, just for folks that might not be aware, intended to strengthen the relationship between the community and local police departments, correct?
Yes, we have officers that get in the dunk tank. We have different parts of the department, whether it's mounted, whether it's our K-9 division, our
food.
BCI, there's food. So it's a good opportunity for us to intermingle with the community. And we've had a lot of fun at these events in the past.
And as it says, National Night Out, it's across the nation. They
It
have it
is.
in every
Sure.
community.
It is. And it's an awesome time. And you might see the chief dance. So as you can see, this is just a breakdown from 2023. 29% of our events were involved city council. We had 2% workshops. Faith-based initiatives. And then here we have just some pictures from, unfortunately, many of these pictures, you're gonna see masks because of that time. This was the basketball camp. I'm not sure if we're able to put it together this year. Scheduling has become a real monster with the schools. People are taking up their space, and this was held at PCTA. And that was, again, we had a lot of kids there that year, and a lot of police officers. Those are all Providence police.
Yeah, that's one thing I definitely want to give credit to the Providence Police Department. So I usually host a monthly community meeting in my ward, and I know several other counselors do. And I can always say that like my lieutenant and his sergeants are always there present on a monthly basis without even being asked. They are invited and they show up every time. So that alone definitely helps build trust and relationship building between all of our different communities and the folks that serve in our neighborhood. So I definitely want to highlight and give credit to the Providence Police Department, because I can't say that across the board with all departments in the city.
We appreciate that. We are trying. This is just exactly what you said. These are parents writing in and making comments, as well as some of our stats with returning success rates. Some very nice costumes. One of my favorite ones, by the way. Just every year, we as a department, we do this, but also within the department, we have different. So I'm in the Youth Service Bureau, and we're very competitive about, we adopt a family, and we're very competitive about our family having received the best of the best compared to whoever else adopted a family. That's not me smelling too pious. As you can see, our events with we get good numbers. We have good relationships with a lot of these kids. Unfortunately, some of these kids I've actually had in front of me for criminal cases. And because of events like this, we're able to kind of get through to them a little bit better sometimes. I wish I could say all the time. But it does, and in my opinion, it plays a very significant and maybe underestimated role in combating gun violence throughout the city is the community engagement portion of what we do. With that being said, that's the slide.
Thank you.
Questions?
Go ahead. Yeah. You're Robert, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to quickly introduce Robert. This was Robert Bailey. He'll be joining. We quickly mentioned that you'd be joining us going forward. But thanks for coming here and welcome to the committee going forward.
I may have missed this, but my question is around the confiscation. In the city, is there a particular neighborhood to find in some higher concentration? So I wish that I could tell you that there was. Unfortunately, the gun problem is citywide. There's not, it ebbs and flows. Like sometimes it'll be on the south side, and then a month later we'll get 7 guns over in the west end, or you know what I mean? So it's not, there's not a particular area where there's more than the other areas. It just depends on what happened that month, you know, as things heat up. We're dealing with a few feuds right now in the area, in the south side area. And so we're probably gonna see an uptick in guns now because the kids feel the need to carry them because of what's going on the streets. So it's not like one area is so much worse than any other area when it comes to that.
So
I'm just thinking, what I think what I'm hearing is that there's no, you haven't captured any data around where there might be a larger concentration, consistent basis in a particular neighborhood throughout the city. It's gotta be.
So we've,
I think what you hear put out here is you just haven't collected that data in that way.
no, we definitely have that data and we try to use it that way, but what I'm saying to you is that the data doesn't point to a specific area being that, like, you're saying, so we can flood concentration on that area or something like that?
Well, no, I'm just asking in terms of. Maybe that might indicate. something.
Yeah,
Just, you know,
yeah, so we have data crunchers that do this all the time, and our violent crime task force and our intelligence units are using that data to the best of their ability. But what I'm saying is that the data doesn't highlight a specific area. It's kind of spread out in a way that, you know, maybe some areas, maybe the south side might have a little bit more right now, but by the end of the year, that might be Unionville. You know what I'm saying?
Would you say that that's a more of a modern / recent phenomenon? You know, kind of like, what I've read is that post-COVID, crime has become more mobile. Rather than, 10 years ago, you would have those hotspots, you would do hotspot policing, right? But, now people drive more, they're staying in different people's houses because of the housing crisis, right?
So I definitely would say, I don't know if I want to tie it to COVID.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say that in my personal experience, this isn't anything driven by our stats or anything, but in my personal experience, I would say 100% what you just said is true. Everything is more moving now. Everything is on the move now. We used to have, and we still do have houses where this house is a hot spot. This is so-and-so family and whatever happens here, and there's an attraction for things. But there's much more movement now, even before I was in the housing unit. I did Hartford, I was in charge of Hartford and Manton as a housing officer. And in those days, when I was there, probably 10 years ago now, your issues with Hartford, those kids, you wouldn't find them anywhere else.
Right.
Your kids that were an issue in Manton, you wouldn't find them anywhere else. Now, you'll find those kids just about anywhere.
Right.
There's places where you can probably say that you won't find them. You might not find a Manton kid in certain parts of Pawtucket or in Hartford, but you'll find them everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's not, they don't stay within a certain confines like they used to. That's not to say that it's not still going on. It's still, you still have little hot spots, but it's just not what it used to be.
How have strategies had to adjust to that? Or still kind of figuring it out?
It's a constant flux with our strategies. I would say that intelligence due to certain advents like cell phones and digital media, our strategies have become a little bit more in depth in that way. The things that the information that we can gather without sitting in front of somebody's house is different now. So that's obviously played a role in our strategies, but I would say even just laws and different things have created our strategies are in constant flux. We're always trying different approaches and seeing how we can best address issues without stepping over any kind of line.
Does the police department use drones?
We do have drones. We don't use them. Well, what do you mean by use drones?
Oh, for any,
We do have them and we do use them. So I won't get into super specifics about how they're used,
I didn't know. so that's
but we
why.
do use them. They come, I would say at the moment, they probably come into play more with crowds and things like that, where we're doing large events, or even when we're searching for somebody, we miss and endangered people who may have gone into the woods or something like that. That's more where their focus has been as of late.
Val, you have a question?
Boston, California, which would have been here from Baltimore, sorry about that. Will it be available when the minutes are released for the meeting, for us to have access to that?
Yeah, we can definitely add it to the,
We always add it to
Yeah,
the
good.
open meetings portal. Yep,
we can get it, make sure it gets over to you too. You have a question?
I
Yeah,
downloaded it.
sadly, we already in Boston, actually, we already know a lot about the statistics on the guns and the weapons that are confiscated. Because that's filtered down to us already, but, I don't know. Yeah, we got a lot, we wrote down while it's happening, but, well, the really valuable part to me is the community interaction part, because as an organization, we've been kind of people about showing up and, being where, you know, like, city, interacting, third parties interacting. We should be doing that too, and having good.
Well, you're welcome to join us.
Any other question?
Get better.
So Lisa spoke about, something a couple of months back in regards to, the females. In regards to like gun violence. Has the police adopted any type of strategies that, that are like aimed towards the youth females?
Specific towards youth females, I hope I'm not speaking out of line, but I don't believe that we have anything that's specifically broken down for female youth. We have plenty of strategies that are aimed at our youth and as a whole,
Mhm.
but I don't believe that we have anything that sets aside females.
Okay.
Definitely something we can work on in the future, Diane. And so,
Absolutely.
No, that topic's definitely been highlighted, with our recreational advisory board too, as well as the lack of programming and then. Recreational opportunity as well for our youth, females, youth, I'm not sure I'm saying it right. You guys know what I mean? 'Cause yeah, I mean, that's been honestly, a bigger concern around Man Heights, that's in my neighborhood, is, there's been a lot of, altercations, you could say, or fights, surrounding our young women. And I mean, it's, when you look back and see what are the opportunities that were, having available for them, it's very limited, so I mean. That does kind of make sense on why the outcome is there, so we definitely should be, expanding and focusing in on what kind of, programs we can provide, going forward. And I think it was really interesting, just a quick point, on how the housing crisis kind of got brought up into, seeing the direct correlation with, how, crime is being a little bit more spread out. Folks aren't able to stay in the neighborhoods and streets that they've grown up and have called home for decades. So obviously when they move, sometimes those, beefs and interactions go with them. So that, I think that's an interesting point and definitely something I think our policy team can analyze and do a little bit more research going forward. The only thing I have for you, Detective Perez, is do you have any data or anything that you can talk to us about around shootings and homicides?
So not right, I can bring some, but everything that I bring, I have to clear through.
No, absolutely.
Channels, so I definitely can't just off the cuff.
No.
So, but in a lot of those numbers, as you're well aware, are correlated with things that we currently have. That
Going on,
are
right.
ongoing. So I didn't, that's purposely why I kind of left that out and focused on the guns. Well, I'll talk to, the powers that be. More information for you with that, or I can even email you. More for that.
No, absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah, because I mean, me and a few counselors, still need to head over there. We were gonna, because we have a lot of questions on some of the data trends and whatnot, and obviously that's kind of the first step before putting forward any legislation or ordinances is understanding the data. Just quickly off the top of my head, obviously when you log online and you see something happening in Providence, the comments are out of control. But what I could say is that violent crime has been decreasing. Obviously, right now in summertime, it picks up a little bit. We, like Lisa mentioned earlier, definitely have had, a lot of activity the last couple of weeks. I think our homicides, if I'm not mistaken, are still at 4,
Three.
3, at 3. So I think obviously 1 is too much, has way too much of an impact on our community in terms of trend and data, knock on wood, it's still a lower, number than years past. So anything that we can do to keep moving in that direction, we should definitely, keep trying.
The numbers are definitely trending downward. I want to say across the board when it comes to violent crime, which is a little bit of an oddity when you consider that the numbers of guns are trending upward, at times.
And I'm sorry, just to be clear, that was 3 homicides by gun,
God.
and I believe 1
Stabbing.
stabbing.
Yeah.
Which we do have an uptick in stabbings. I
There's
responded to a lot of
there's been a lot of
stabbings.
stabbings. Seems like that definitely has been something I've also noticed. Does anyone else have anything they would want to add? Thank you so much, Detective, for this PowerPoint. Super helpful. Does anyone else have anything they want to add on this item before we continue? All right, so we'll move on to agenda item number 5. We can probably combine 5 and 6, just to make sure we have, additional time for our folks that have joined us, if they want to add anything at the end. So we can combine 5 and 6. Open discussion and next steps. So I guess the first question is, so council officially doesn't have full council meetings in August. I'm still open to meet in August if you guys want to. Unless our clerk's office has a different.
I mean, you're in recess,
Mhm.
but we are at the pleasure of the chair, so.
Figure it out. But yeah, I mean, yeah, no. Most likely won't be meeting in August.
September sounds great.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it now, but yeah, once we have August, I have a couple different community events that are gonna take up a lot of capacity
Right.
and energy. But yeah, I mean, does anyone have any ideas on kind of next steps? We've talked about like a mission statement. We're not sure where that went, being as honest as possible.
I just have a quick comment. I think, what I could try to do, if anybody else want to help out, is just kind of put together a map of Providence and then all the CBOs that are adjacent to this work and what areas they're in and what areas they might be doing work in, and just give us a better picture of what's happening and where stuff isn't happening. And then maybe we can, in the future, overlay that with like the hotspot maps and, look at the crime data and see if there's certain areas we're missing and, who could be more effective in certain words. So that's a personal project I'll work on, and, anybody feel free to reach out, work on it together. I know, but I got until September.
All right.
Does anyone have any thoughts in terms of the committee? I think something that was discussed is what's going out in the community, hosting a meeting out there somewhere. So I mean, that's probably should happen at some time in the fall. But as a committee, I think we kind of need to get a little more clear on what we want to see happen with our work. Obviously, we're still in the learning phase, and sometimes government doesn't work as fast as we would like it to be, but I think we have a very unique opportunity here. Having PJ, Lisa, everyone here, I think this is a very experienced, motivated group that definitely wants to see violent crime and crime in general be continue reducing, decreasing here in the city of Providence. So yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm at. If anyone else has, Miguel might have something. Miguel's from our policy office.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to add in, you all hear from me in the emails. By being on this advisory council, you have access to me. Feel free to email me. I think where I can be the most helpful is if you are trying to find information or resources through the city. By all means, you can use your own connections. You can go in there, you can reach out, you can talk to people. But if you're having a hard time kind of figuring out where to send your questions, where to get certain information, please reach out to me. I'm here this is my full-time job. Again, you being on this advisory council, you have access to me and my research, and I can help with all that stuff, especially if you have like a little bit of a cushion here before the next meeting. Seems like that might be a good time to do some information gathering, like personally for all, so, great, I'm here, just throwing it at,
I'll call you.
yeah, please do.
Thank you, Miguel. Yeah, and shout out to our policy team. I'm not sure if you'll see them eventually, but we have two newish policy analysts who have been cranking a lot of briefs and research out for us as of recently. So we can definitely utilize them. They work for the people in the Providence, like I do. So we definitely need to utilize and do what we can with these available resources. Does anyone also have anything they want to add? PJ, is there anything that we can do as a committee to support the work that you're doing or anything?
I mean, keep your fingers crossed for the grant. I do think we should try to lay out what some of our goals for the committee. I think, I don't know, I mean, we can call it a mission statement, but just something that, you know, if people ask exactly what it is we're trying to do. I mean, maybe that's something we could put on the agenda for next time.
Right. Yeah, sure.
The only other thing that I would like to see, maybe just have a conversation around is employment. Just what the city's efforts are and where they are and what the year-round program is gonna look like. And how to make sure that we're making sure that CBOs have access to those programs.
Yeah, I also got someone from DLT that could come and present, but we want to make sure we have our questions ready so we can hold them to, do the work and not just tell us what great programs we have, but how we can actually utilize those.
I think, an online presence, I don't want to create a job for anybody, but I think that would probably help. Everything is done online.
Yeah, that's something we talked about with our staff, like maybe even having our own social media. There's a lot that we can do. And definitely input and feedback is always very welcomed and appreciated. Even constructive criticism. It's very appreciated. It's how we grow as individuals and as legislators.
Mr. Chair, I can add, when you do have your mission statement, that can be added to each and every agenda. So when that gets published, it'll be reiterated over and over and over again what your mission is. So when you do come up with that, we can certainly work it into all the agenda.
Awesome, thank you. That'd be great. So that being said, if no one else has anything on the advisory committee, I'll open it up to the public. Which looks like that's the next step here. Does anyone from the public have anything they want to add on? If you guys want to introduce yourselves, you're more than happy to. Val and Jean have been here a few times.
So right now, I'm through Morris Ave, I live in Providence, and I'm a volunteer with them, and actually. I'm Jean Griffin, I'm committee of Julie for Costuming and Action for that, and I live at 129 Springfield Street.
Robert Bailey, Justice Assistant in Princeton, the manager of private services. See. That's Carlson, I'm also an intern at PhD. That's what I think is, I think this is.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. It's so awesome to see folks engaged in the work that we're doing. There's been lots of council meetings where it's just the council members. I love my colleagues, but it's important to have folks from the community and other perspectives in these rooms when they're talking and having these very important conversations. Does anyone have anything that they want to add? Anything they heard that sounds interesting or concerns?
It's always interesting. I learned a lot today and I'm going to be asking questions to maybe a few people. So thanks for letting us talk.
Thank
We're
you.
always here to support our community, violence partners, non-violence institute, and every way to be.
All right, so with that being said, I don't think there's any more business for the committee to do. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
A second.
Second. Thank you all very much. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful rest of your Wednesday. I'm like, what day is it? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And,